Hey everybody, welcome back to CBN Unscripted. I'm your host, Jasmine Monk, and I'm really excited. You guys come on in. Today we're going to be talking about the college bowling landscape explained. So on the previous episode, we talked a little bit about my history, kind of my journey, and leading up to now, to the birth of College Bowling Network and CBN, what we're up to, what we're about, and where we are today and where we're headed. And so today I really want to break down the college bowling landscape because a lot of people don't understand it. If you are new to college bowling, it can totally get confusing. You hear NCAA, you hear USBC, you hear NAIA, you see Division I teams bowling Division II teams. You're thinking, wait a minute, what is this? How does this work? Truly, how does this actually work? And so, I'm here to kind of simplify that for you guys. It's layered. It's not structured like football or basketball. And I love it, right? That's why I'm here now, because it is different and it is unique. And again, as I will always say, people need to know about it. So in this episode, we're going to break down who actually runs college bowling. We're going to talk about what the divisions actually mean, why conferences matter. We'll talk a little bit about the different types of conferences as well. We're going to talk about the formats such as Baker or traditional single games. We're going to talk about recruiting and how that actually works. And we also are going to talk about why 2028 is going to be a major turning point for Division II. I'm so excited about that. So we're going to talk about that as well, because believe it or not, the sport is growing. There's so much potential. And when you guys really understand the structure, you will also understand the potential and what I'm talking about, right? The opportunity and really where the sport is headed. So let's start at the top, okay? So college bowling does not sit just under one organization. And so that part right there, that's where people are like, well, what? So first, you've got the National Collegiate Athletic Association, which is the NCAA. So before I throw out all these acronyms today, I want to say the full name so that way you know what I'm talking about. So the National Collegiate Athletic Association, we all know is NCAA. Not sure everybody knew kind of it spelled out and what it is, right? So that's it. The NCAA, it sponsors women's bowling, which has to do with Title IX. And so here is the part that a lot of people don't realize. So here's the kicker. Guys, it's interesting. It's so interesting, diving into this. And so it's just exciting. I'm just excited to share it with you all. So please don't take it other than that. So right now, women's bowling has one combined national championship across divisions 1, 2, and 3. So when you watch nationals, or if you have ever watched NCAA bowling nationals, you're watching everyone compete together, and they're seated together and they're climbing to the top, right? Trying to, get the spot to win. And so that means a Division II program can line up against a Division I program. And as we all know, which we'll get into in a little bit, Division I programs, they have bigger budgets, more athletic resources, all of these things. And so that brings me to a school that I'm very familiar with, which is McKendree University. They're a powerhouse. Division II, by the way, they won a national championship in 2017, and they defeated Nebraska, which we all know is Division I in Conference USA. They also have another championship from 2022, in which they defeated Stephen F. Austin, which we all know is a Division I school as well. And that was led by the amazing, none other than Shannon O'Keefe and her husband. They are just amazing leaders and amazing coaches, but they were Division II guys, and they took the NCAA bowling championship. So I hope you kind of understand, I want to paint a picture for you on what that actually looks like. So the divisions still matter. So, right, they affect your scholarship limits, athletic budgets, right, that the coaches get, recruiting reach, recruiting budget, as well as administrative structure, all of these things. So divisions still matter, but competitively, everyone is in the same kind of playing field. And so that is why I'm excited to share, if you don't already know, in 2028, it's going to be amazing. I can't wait. I'm definitely going to be there. I'm not going to get into it yet. I'm going to make you guys wait. I'm going to make you listen and wait. It's good, but we'll get there, okay? So outside of the NCAA, you've got the United States Bowling Congress, which if you're a bowler, you're familiar with. You have a membership card, and they have tournaments and all these things, okay? So United States Bowling Congress, is USBC. USBC Collegiate governs men's bowling primarily. They do govern some women as well, but primarily the men. So if you're a men's collegiate bowler, the USBC championships for you are pretty much your main national pathway. However, USBC, they also include NCAA schools, NAIA schools, community colleges, independent programs. The list goes on. And remember when I told you in the beginning, like the makeup is wild. Like it's just so unique and it's so interesting. So the men's like championships, like their events are super major recruiting spaces for sure. A lot of exposure happens there. Resumes get built, of course. And then coaches watch those tournaments very, very closely. Okay. Now moving on to the National Association of Intercollegiate Athletics, which is known as NAIA. So these are your smaller schools. They have different scholarship structures. You may not get as much like athletic money, but you may get a combination of athletic and academic money, possibly. You do still have some strong competitive programs under the NAIA. And honestly, for some athletes, the NAIA is actually a better fit than NCAA. And this will, of course, be on the women's side because the men's college bowling is not under NCAA. So instead of one clean structure, right, let's just kind of will it in, we have multiple governing bodies. And honestly, a lot of people are like, well, that's a weakness. No, it's not. It's total opportunity. Total opportunity. So next, we're going to actually talk about the divisions and what they mean. Okay, so now let's hop into divisions, okay? What do they actually mean? So let's talk division. So people hear Division I, and they assume that it automatically means better. I know, like, I'm raising my hand because that's me. I was like, oh, it's Division I. Like, we're trained to think that way, but not always. Division I, of course, it means bigger budgets, more funding, a broader recruiting reach, like a bigger recruiting budget, more visibility, the list goes on. And I kind of already talked about that. Division II, similar to the NAIA, balanced academics, right? And athletics, you probably get some scholarship money from athletics. You're getting some from academics. Strong regional recruiting when it comes to Division II, and they're just as competitive, right? Like going back to the example I just gave you with McKendree, they're Division II and they have 2 championships under their belt within a 5-year span. And so this is kind of where that shift happens. So right now, Division II teams, like we talked about, they compete in the combined NCAA championship field, McKendree. But, and this is what I was waiting for y'all to kind of listen for, but starting in 2028, the Division II bowling will have its own dedicated national championship as of February 2026. How freaking cool is that? That is huge, 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 huge. I'm so excited, as I know a lot of the coaches and programs, and conferences are too. I think it's great. I think for Division II, it means, more postseason spots overall. You've got the national title that is specifically for D2 programs, which I love. More recognition for them. More incentive for schools to invest in bowling. Think about all the D2 schools that maybe they're looking for another sport, right? Bowling can be considered. And again, this is on the women's side for NCAA. And then stronger recruiting leverage for Division II coaches. There's a national championship. So, you think about it right now, a Division II program has to break into a field with these Division I schools. They have larger budget. They probably have more resources. But in 2028, they'll have their own stage, guys. How cool is that? I am beyond excited, and I will be there for sure. You think about it, when a division gets their own championship, exposure increases. When exposure increases, recruiting strengthens, with, it's just this ripple effect, right? And then when recruiting strengthens, the competitiveness improves, and it just goes on and on. So I'm really excited. Shout out to Division I NCAA college bowling schools. I'm rooting for you guys, and I'm really excited for you guys. So next, in the next segment, we're going to talk about conferences. See you on the other side. All right, guys, so let's hop into conferences. So let's talk conferences, right? So conferences shape your season. Some of the major ones, especially in NCAA Division I that you may know, Conference USA, these are teams such as Nebraska, Jacksonville, Sam Houston, Wichita State, the list goes on. Then you've got your Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference, which we refer to as the MEAC. HBCU Conference, you've got North Carolina A&T, Howard, Morgan State, University of Alabama at Birmingham, Delaware State, University of Maryland Eastern Shore, the list goes on. And then you have your Northeast Conference, okay? And then you have your Great Lakes Valley Conference. And then you have your Southwest Athletic Conference, which we refer to as the SWAC, and HBCU Conference. Obviously, guys, you know I'm all about the SWAC, so you know that I know the 8 schools, but you've got Texas Southern, Prairie View, Alabama State, just to name a few, Jackson State, just to name a couple, Alabama A&M. I might as well name them all. Grambling, Alabama A&M. Anyways, I know all the 8 schools, so I'm not gonna. Oh, Florida A&M. You've got. I'm not gonna do it. I know them, but anyways, I gotta keep this short and sweet for you guys. So how it works is conference play. Okay, so conference play builds rivalries, and it hugely impacts the NCAA season. So it strengthens teams' resumes, right? It affects seeding, all of these things. So essentially, the rule of thumb is if you dominate your conference, you're building a case for nationals. You're like creating a bid for yourself. And so when it comes to NCAA nationals, right, the selection committee, they look at conference results, strength of schedule, of course, head-to-head matchups, overall consistency is what they look at for that bid into the NCAA championship. And so what is going to be cool is when Division II gets their own championship in 2028, conference performance at that level could become more critical. It's just going to be so many things that are going to change, and I'm excited to ride this wave and see what that looks like. So we'll be covering it all. Okay, so now let's hop into the next segment, women versus men's structure. Because a lot of people always ask. So women's, as we know, was NCAA. They have the NCAA sponsored championship. They kind of have that conference-driven structure, growing national visibility, of course. And so with Division II expanding in 2028, of course, women's collegiate bowling is trending upward, which we all like to see. And so with the men's bowling, just to kind of reiterate kind of what we already talked about, it is primarily through USBC Collegiate. And so it's a different championship pathway, still high level, still very much competitive. It's just structured differently. A lot of the guys that I know that have bowled in college, they do actually bowl on the tour. Or, they bowl on the Professional Bowling Association tour, PBA. They'll bowl regionals as well. And so that matters for recruits to understand. And I've mentioned this, I think, in my last video. There are some schools, I know Wichita State for sure. There may be some other ones where they do give out partial athletic scholarships as well. And then you can also get academic scholarship too. Okay, guys, so now let's hop into formats, right? This is what a lot of people don't understand. So you're watching a stream, you're watching them just bowl. You have no idea what the heck is going on. And that's okay. So we're going to talk about that today. So, and I want to kind of talk about this first, kind of set the stage. So college bowling is not just about who averages the most. It's not. College bowling is not a strike-a-thon. College bowling is not meant to where you shoot a 300 every single game. It is not meant for that. College bowling is about consistency. It's about closing your frames, and that's it. So consistency and closing your frames. If you're stringing strikes, in a game, or if you and your teammates are stringing strikes in a game, then that's awesome. But at the end of the day, when you look at total pins and seeding, it comes down to who is sparing. And another example is, let's say you have a split. Let's say you have 3 pins over here and 2 over here. You need to be going for the 3, not necessarily to pick it up, because if you do that, you may only get 2 pins or 1 pin. You need to just focus on getting the 3. It matters so much, so much. It is not, right? When you look at the oil patterns in college bowling, it is not meant to be a strike-a-thon. But there are some patterns that are advantageous for some bowlers or teams, right? And we'll have episodes on that, of course. You start looking at the old patterns, but overall, it is not a strike-a-thon. So formats. So I just kind of want to set the stage just so you can understand that piece. So formats, okay? There are two main formats when it comes to college bowling. One, we call them traditional single games. Traditional single Baker games, okay? So that's basically where you have, so it's 5 bowlers at any given time in that bowl, and every single bowler bowls a full game, and then the scores are added up, okay? So that is we call that traditional single Baker games. So then we have what is called team Baker games, and that is where the team shares one game. So again, you have 5 bowlers. You have your first bowler, your leadoff bowler, and this is one game. So there are 10 frames in one game, okay? And then so you take those 5 bowlers. So you've got you've got bowler 1, the leadoff bowler, they bowl frame 1 and frame 6. Your second bowler bowls frame 2 and frame 7. Your third bowler bowls frame 3 and frame 8. Your fourth bowler bowls frame 4 and frame 9. And then your anchor bowler is what we call them, is your fifth bowler. And they bowl the 5th frame. And then, of course, the 10th frame, where you actually get up to 3 chances. Like if you strike, you can have 3 strikes in the 10th frame. And so that is huge because you have to have chemistry for that. Because if you're closing but your teammate's not, we need to fix it. What is the teammate doing? Do we need to sub that person out? There's a lot of things that the coaches are looking at, or even just the players evaluating what's going on as well. But the team Baker game is huge. Like that chemistry is everything. And so you'll often hear where some programs, they'll bowl for the team Baker, they bowl 300. So think about it. You've got 5 people that are responsible for these 2 frames in the game, each of them, and each of them strike in both of their frames. Just think about that chemistry you have to have and that momentum you have to have. It's awesome. So I'm always shouting out teams that I see that are bowling those 300 team Baker games, because they're not easy to do. I guess, right? I'm going back to when I was in school. If you just think about your frames and what you need to do, it's helpful, but you also have to make sure you're there for your teammates as well. If they're struggling, you're there. You're high-fiving them. You're pumping them up as well. So it's a big deal. It's a big deal, okay? But it can be tough, but, it's finding the right chemistry and finding that right 5. And, the coaches are looking. The Bakers is a big thing. Anybody can roll a full game, but can you mesh? Can you really be a part of a team? And that's what college bowling is really about. Okay, guys, so last segment here, I really wanted to briefly touch on recruiting, because a lot of youth bowlers, and you guys heard my story, I didn't know bowling was in college, but if you are a parent or if you are an athlete watching this, I'll just give you some quick tips that coaches are looking for. It's not just about having a 220 average, okay? The coaches look for consistency. They're looking for spare shooting, because if you remember what I said a minute ago, it is not a strike-a-thon with the different lane conditions that we bowl on. It's not. They're looking at Baker performance. They're looking at composure under pressure. They're looking at a team-first mentality. They're looking for a positive attitude. And they're looking for somebody that's coachable. So if you don't have a high school bowling team, and I understand because I didn't, bowling competitively in those tournaments is key. Bowling on the teams, and then you have doubles and singles. The coaches are looking at all of that. I know there are a lot of USBC events that are huge for recruiting windows. Just make sure you're tracking your finishes, any stats, any record Baker stats that you have. Note those, send full profiles of you talking, why you want to go to their school, why you love bowling, your goals and aspirations, but also footage of you bowling spares and misses, not just strikes. They want to see everything. They want to see your approach. They want to see your feet. They want to see your swing. They want to see all these things. Email coaches early. Don't wait until your senior year to try to get recruited. Start early, middle school, going into high school. And if you're already an upperclassman, you've got some work to do. Happy to help you with that. Just from my experience, and I know a lot of coaches as well, so feel free to reach out and let us know. Lastly, what I'll close with here is with Division II kind of getting its own national championship, recruiting at that level, Division II, especially for women, is only going to increase. And so more opportunity means more athletes competing for those spots. But I'm hoping more spots open up because there should be enough room for everybody. All right, guys, I'm gonna close it out. So I hope you kind of learned some things in this episode. I really laid out the landscape for you. It's a lot, so watch this over and over and over again. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. College bowling is amazing. It's very unique. We do have multiple governing bodies. I'm excited for what's going to happen in 2028 with Division II. So in the next episode, I'm going to get a little bit more specific, and I'm going to break down how teams are performing in conference play right now to date. Who's rising, who's falling, what's going on, top 25, what's going on in these different conferences. And we're going to dive into really what makes a kind of championship caliber team. But either way, we're going to go a little bit deeper. Make sure that you guys like, share, and subscribe. Just thank you so much for even listening. Again, if you want to talk, we're here. If you want to be involved, we're here. And we're just looking forward to all the things to come with college bowling. We will see you guys on the next episode. Take care.